Alright, so we're gonna do this real quick. I'm gonna do this as fast as possible, be as convenient and pain-free. Hopefully, shouldn't have said that, it's gonna be memes. But as smoothly as possible, hopefully. So I have a few slides for you. You've probably already seen a bit of them, either on Reddit or the past 30 seconds. I'll try to timestamp some of them for you, just so you can pick and choose what you're gonna see at your own leisure. So we're just gonna go right into it. Everybody's seen this from this morning. A pitch that has not been. This is not the first one, obviously. Most people are like Grineer versus Corpus, and it's not the best thing to do. And this one guy, he's like, "Yo, I speak for the trees. I speak for Conclave," and that's not really the case. Looking what his IGN is across platforms, and he doesn't use that platform at all, despite it just reeks of troll behavior, basically. And just there a lot of people was behind this, and I'm like, bro, this ain't it. It's gonna take way too much resources. Let's just go into the rest of it. This guy's one of the main people that advocates for this community. Like, he doesn't necessarily speak for everybody, as he says. The majority of the Conclave discourse wants Conclave to have attention to its bugs that have been developed from base neglect from PvE buff bleed over. Steve, he wants a separation between the two for whatever reason. I don't think it's the best. Everybody else can speak for themselves, but that's definitely not the case. There's definitely a lot of things that affect it. If you're probably already aware, most already aware of the Brahma situation. Comes in, wrecks everything, but smaller things, the melee rework, still hasn't been fixed since its inception. I'm not gonna say which ones are exploitable, because we're not gonna do that. We saw how everybody reacted the last time they got wind of that. But we just want it to be upkept. We're not trying to affect anybody else's gameplay. We just want our own stuff to be maintained and not break because of other things. And yeah, like the Grineer versus Corpus, as he says, it kind of goes against what we're just asking the devs for. We're just asking for maintenance, just a few bug fixes, patches every so often. Should be able to fix itself after a little while. Some people were definitely a little bit more aggressive, to say the least. But yeah, we did want proof from him or her, them, whatever, as to who they really were. They didn't end up doing that. And just checking within this past, hour or so that I've been compiling all of this. Well, it's definitely been longer than that. It's like 3 or 4 hours. Y'all, people that do editing, this is crazy. I don't understand. I give props to y'all for this, but I don't know, this just had to be done, so I'm doing it. Yeah, another guy that's a regular in the Discord. And most of us can definitely agree that the movement is really what makes this game. It's really a beautiful thing when you're able to utilize all that this game has to offer, and taking away the mobility. Like, granted, like, Conclave is a tad slower than the normal game, which is a turn off to some, but still being able to use your mobility, the parkour 2.0, is really nice. Closest thing to that would probably be Titanfall 2, which also has Titanfall 2, Unreal Tournament, guns, There's some other ones that I'm forgetting. However, the ones that are in those communities, especially ones like Titanfall 2, have been declining, but are still a very solid, well-knit community based off of their own appreciation for the game. Like, people have been making literal love letters to the mobility of Titanfall 2, and to diverge from that just so we can have like another, as a lot of people say, COD shooter or whatever. It's not going to do us any favors. It's not going to do the game as a whole any favors. Like, it would not bring anybody here, because why come here when you can just play the other games that do all of those things better and already have that player base? So yeah, we go into this, whoever this guy's name is, I forget what this guy's name is, but he might be impersonating somebody else. There have been a few people that have brought it up on the Discord. However, we've brought mixed reviews. Nobody wants it to straight up replace the game modes that we already have, as that's going to just take way too many resources. We're being somewhat aggressive just because it's kind of difficult to be in the state that we're in, and the ways that the community has an opinion about, and just trying to preserve what we still have would just be greatly appreciated, and to make everything that we have go as smoothly as possible. I just did a basic search on Grineer versus Corpus, since this man was like, yeah, we've been talking about it for years. Technically, it might be true. There was one, 2019, but it's not like on or off. Like, half of those 13 results are from today. This guy's a meme lord. That's no explanation for that. So yeah, it's just not really something that we've been talking about. It's mostly, like, to be honest, like, a lot of what we try to do is make it as smooth as possible for y'all, and to make y'all hopefully hate the game mode less. Like, we were literally in this guy's stream talking about the reward system, and potentially looking at like a top 3, still get like the wins instead of just number 1, because it can be really intimidating, or just top 3rd of the people in the server or the game mode just get the rewards instead, because it's a lot less aggressive. So, and just asking for petitions to make things happen. Like, we get it, like, things are cool and you want it in the game, but it doesn't necessarily serve the purposes. And there's a lot that has to be done in terms of PvE, PvP, and just overall for the game. And it's just something, one more thing that's not, it's not the Steve Jobs one more thing that we're really looking for. This guy at the top, I'm pretty sure he's trolling, because over time, he's changed his mind. I couldn't tell if he was being trolly at first. It was like one time in like 2017, like, do one post in 2017 about this. He was like, yeah, I'll be a what are these things called? The Grineer rollers, yeah. But yeah, obviously this happened this morning. I'm just trying to do this now so that we can establish what is gonna, go on further down the line. Hopefully DE does not see this as something that they need to do. which, hopefully they understand from what's already on their plate, be it, the new player experience, and all the other things that they have to do, that this is not going to go the way that they intend or smoothly. Not to, be offensive or scary or whatever. It's just not a good idea. And yeah, basically, this one at 516 is basically what I've been saying. I'm gonna have to edit this part out because I forgot this guy's name. Yeah, let's see, guys on PC. This is just the part where we're looking to make sure that he actually knows what he's talking about and that he's talked with us before. This is kind of the thing that, I don't know, like some people have been talking about it as a add-in for invasion missions, and that's basically the extent that it'll go. Nobody's really trying to have it as a singular mode for Conclave, just like as an add-on to, invasion missions would be the extent of it, but there's just a few problems with that. Like complete rebalancing, having to do the models, having to do immense amount of work for the perspective, the way that you're able to move, all of the like these people are saying, the crit chance, the armor, your shields, because all those are different for each faction, and they all have completely different size models that you're going to have to deal with. Obviously silly stuff. Yeah, this is the same guy. I have never heard of anybody that had a Celestia that's never gone out. Because first of all, usually we do not brag like that, and it's just hard. It's just hard in general sometimes to do that. Like a lot of the time, be it you're on all the time or not. Like not everybody has the same play style that you're trying to just go for the rewards to keep your sign Dana lit. Most people, they're just trying to have fun. But yeah, like if you had that amount of hours and you're not trying to like prove it, just definitely sounds fishy. And yeah, so we looked for stuff on PC, PS4. Turned out he was on PS4. I don't have the screenshot in this file. I can probably put it on Twitter if y'all want it, but it's just an empty account. Yeah, and there is a ton of upvotes. It was like 500, 600 something. Like it's good for people to agree with you and what, be in stride with what you want. However, what is best for the game and what is going to be hopefully the most fun and enjoyable for the game, I wholeheartedly do not think that this method, and from the conversations that we have been having in the Discord, it just does not seem feasible, logical, or just yeah, basically those two. But yeah, meme guy. There's a newer guy. I think he was memeing. That's the bottom one. You can obviously take that out of context if you want. And this is a conversation between them. But this is just in terms of, we will say, oh, I can't keep up with the mobility. And it's mostly just about having a good strategy, because if you're going fast, it's going to be harder to hit people as well. So most people, they just find the point where they are going the slowest, and it's usually that simple. I might make a better video later, but talking to one of the guys in the Twitch chat, one of the few guys that stream, he's talking about Mastery Rank 0 kids, or people, human beings, and how they're actually pretty scary because they know how to use strategy because of the other games that they are coming from, and they don't have, a clear the room mentality. How realistic is gunning down other Tenno anyway? Because it's in the lore. It can offer an alternative to the mind-bending, vomit-inducing movement in Warframes have in Conclave. It doesn't work in Warframe as it did in UT or Quake, Unreal Tournament or Quake, because of the third-person camera. There's a lot of people that disagree. You can change your settings. There's a lot of things that you can do for that, and workarounds. There are some people that never use the mobility in Conclave, which can be sad, but it is also impressive to an extent. There's a meme thing that some of us do called crouch clave. Sometimes we'll just crouch and aim and try to get people that way. I am nowhere near that good to do that, but there are some that are. This is the same guy. Yeah, this is the 3 years ago post. Yeah, this was also a 3 years ago post. Might be the same person, who knows? But yeah, it was kind of obviously shut down, lightly. It's not like, oh, we hate you, get out of our face. It's just like, this is not the best for this game. It's not what its niche is. You have to play to your strengths. And slower gameplay, at least at the moment, is not one of its strengths in a lot of areas of the game. Most areas of the game. Well, it just depends on your playstyle. Because the game doesn't necessarily, in a lot of places, force you to use the game as they designed it. In accordance with the mobility, Jupiter is definitely a great place to do that. Conclave is definitely a great place to do that. But yeah, you can walk around, but that would kind of defeat the purpose of all their hard work to do a complete rehaul and rework. As well as the assets that they would have to pull and use and take away from everything else that everybody's been wanting for the past few years as well. It's going to just prolong the process. And this guy did a super long overhaul. I don't know if y'all want me to read this, but it's like a good 10-page essay, maybe 6 pages. But it's cover-based combat. So I can't. Y'all can pause it if you want to read it. I don't really think this would be the most useful use of this time for this post. If you want me to redo it in more extent, we can. Just let me know. What I really wanted to do is have this reaction from this guy that has very proficient in proficient's a weird word. He's good at the game. He's good at the Conclave. With all caps, double spaced, sideways. Haven't played with him before. Different type of situation, but yeah, basically a lot of these, the general consensus is that it's playing more to other game strengths and not to warframes. And he goes into trying to show how this person that posed the question can get better, as well as suggestions that we have been trying to ask for in the community, just for fixes and the like. But this guy was a really good sport. He was just like, oh, I just want the game to be better, which is what we should all hopefully be doing. And it was really, really wholesome, and I really appreciate the kinds of conversations that go on like this. And he asks, how do we make it better? And he goes into, the reward system, regular content updates, fixes, the new player experience, like the recruit conditioning, which is good, but obviously it can be improved upon a lot. Okay, so he goes into regular content updates. Because there's a lot of frames that are not in there, rewards, because obviously there's not people with a good incentive. Improve player experience, which we've talked about a little bit. Just make it more comfortable for people. And yeah, like obviously to break that, as he says, break the cycle of like thinking that nobody plays, because that's not true at all. It's kind of been more so the case since the Melee rework. But before that, it was pretty solid. It's still pretty solid. It still has a really good, tight-knit community. There's no real division. Granted, like some of them hate the people that I play, but I play them, with integrity. Hate is a strong word. Let's not say that. There are some that can be exploited that I choose not to exploit, but I play them in a fun, fair way. So we agree to disagree, but the things that we do agree on are how this game can be improved. And he just goes in to say that he just like to see this guy's stuff more than his, which is kind of surprising and humble to say. And yeah, you can read this at your own leisure. This is just to address the Grineer versus Corpus situation. We can go more in depth on other things later. This other guy, just being appreciative. Excuse me, I just put this in just to show how, people put time into things, and you should just be appreciative. Or excuse me, how it's good to be, appreciative of whatever type of work that somebody puts into an idea. And we usually just try to not be divisive and just say how, what's good and what's not good, what parts of it work and what parts do not. The brown is like people that are either pitching their idea for the Corpus Grineer, or people that are not necessarily fully Conclave minded in the argument. It's not a good word. I'll probably reword that in like the comments or something. But the purple is like the people that are from Conclave, from the Discord. Yeah, this is another suggestion for this, which a lot of people either don't know or for whatever reason dislike the solar rails, be it just because of that one alliance incident, which is not the whole entirety of the game mode, which was extremely fun. There are quite a few, well, a decent amount of videos on it. If you want to look up Evan Z111, that would be excellent way to show how beautiful that mode was. And he was one of the very few people that talked about the mode in extensive detail. He had like over like 200, 300k people looking at his stuff. But that was like 4 or 5 years ago. Hopefully this man's doing well. That's a whole other story. This is another guy that does a lot of PvP, does a lot of PvE, as well as just an all-rounded guy, and just showing about the, indistinguishability, if that's a word, between other things and the Corpus Grineer mode. From 5 months ago, this guy, I'm pretty sure he's not in the Discord, but he'd still put up decent amount of points. I'm not putting all the, platitudes, all the good stuff about the Grineer versus Corpus, because you see that everywhere. If you want to, you can just look at the post that was made this morning. Yeah, this guy's like, it wouldn't be that much. But the way that Warframe is coded, one thing's going to affect another. I mean, that's been stated and shown with how PvE affects PvP, despite what their efforts are. And it would just do a lot, it potentially could do a lot more damage than good by putting it in. I think this was in reaction to a YouTube video where this bigger YouTuber had commented on this guy's idea for Grineer versus Corpus. And that there's just like not a lot of good reasoning to put it in. But under certain conditions we would allow it. Well, at least this is what these people say. Personally, I just think that DE has a lot more important things to take care of to make their game healthy before we start putting more stuff on their plate. Like, once it's in a healthy condition where the player numbers are back up and not everybody's yelling at them all the time, which, might, I don't know, hopefully that happens someday, but yeah. We'll see once it's in a good, part where there's not a lot of division in the community and they can afford to do side projects, because right now they really cannot with all of the different games coming out. And that's especially important, and why we're trying to make sure that they do well with the upcoming games, such as like Outriders, I probably said that wrong, Godfall, Anthem, if Destiny 2 gets their stuff together. There's another like Riot, some of the Riot games. This other melee-based MOBA. There's a few things coming out that they have to watch out for, like, some people have said. And that everybody knows, not everybody is necessarily saying. We're just trying to get them at their best, basically. Obviously, this is like a year or two ago, and it's just like kind of weird how foreboding, and how foreboding this is to right now, in the situation that we're in right now. But yeah, and this is the post for the YouTuber. Obviously, there's some more stronger opinions about it, but yeah, like, basically, like, just doing a whole 180 is just not not good for a game. I mean, it's definitely circumstantial, but if you know what your niche is, you know what needs to be done, what brings players in, like the devs are like, okay, like hype and expectations. However, looking at other games and how they are successful in mainstream, and just sticking to your guns. Like this game, Space Lords, love it. The community is beautiful. Just did a complete 180 as to what their identity was, and it was like a slow, strategic game with a lot of melee focus. But they're like, we need to go more casual, and in my opinion, they went more of a Warframe route. And in some ways, they made some of the upgrades more complicated. All the math and stuff that we have to do over here. Some of the reward systems and all that just to get more players in. And they were a small, game, and they had a lot of tight-knit people in it, and a lot of people left because it just wasn't what they were about. And now they're kind of trying to rectify it to an extent. Like, granted, it's really slow. And from talking to some of them, not the devs, but some of the guys that are some of the streamers that main over there, like, they're at least giving an effort, and I really appreciate that. They just had what is today? 22nd? I think, yeah, yesterday they had a stream where they played against their streamers. And sometimes, in this community, it's like, do these people actually play their own game? And Rebecca, I don't know if a lot of y'all know, she came in maybe 2 or so weeks ago and played with one of us, played with a few of us. It was pretty cool, pretty healthy situation. She actually did okay. I don't know, you should probably ask her. Might put a video up about it later. The video is kind of choppy. Nobody decided to clip a lot of it. That's another story. But she's aware of the issues and balancing and all that. But that's another story. This is just another thing. Like a few years ago, talking about this mode. Granted, I haven't been in this Discord for that long. I've been in here for maybe half a year at the most. So I haven't really seen a lot of these. It was kind of surprising to go back and see all this. Pretty sure it's the same guy. And some memes. These are not serious. But yeah, this is some of the caveats, the exceptions to if we were to accept it. Obviously, this is not necessarily mine. I already said what my opinion was, but some of these other guys are like, okay, under circumstances, this might be okay. However, I don't think it's the best for the game. You need players playing Conclave, but Conclave is unwilling to explore casual, quick PvPvE modes drawn bodies from the already in place. Is that implicit? It's in place. PvE player base. Yeah, this guy's just it basically just wouldn't fit. Surprised that it wouldn't. About the reaction, which isn't necessarily the reaction that actually happened, based off of what we're already looking at. Yeah, because it's not Warframe. Fun fact, I had suggested racing. K-Drives happened because of that. Nobody expected it. Nobody necessarily wanted it, but it's in. We don't always give good feedback. We don't always know what's best for the game or do what's best for the game at the moment, but I had asked for a couple of other things that were more important, and that was the one that they decided to land on. So it's just a matter of giving them good feedback all the time and just productive so that it can get to a good stage. Like there was a whole marshmallow experiment. They're like, you can have this marshmallow now, or you can have 2 later. So we're really just trying to have 2 marshmallows, or like 1,000, whatever you want to call it. Fix the game now, do all the silly stuff later. Yeah, like Rebecca was saying in that same stream, like bug fixes don't pay the bills, which is true. However, with the maintenance and focus of, what's already good in the game, fixing those and having little variations. So in the terms of like K drives, you just had like, this is my shameless plug as to what actually could be good, because this guy, he does Warframe racing, and that's what I had gotten it from years ago in that AMA that I asked him. You just had like a good waypoint system, and you just let that, be in the game. People do what they want. You don't have to do all the work that you're doing. Like, how many months has it been since he announced that he's doing a Warframe cart? Versus, just making the waypoint system just a tad bit better. I don't know how much work that would have to be, but it just seems like it would be a whole lot easier and more focused than what's happening currently. I just think it can be a good idea, as Warframe is a PvE-centered game, and this can incentivize PvE players to try out PvP to get a specific weapon that they want to use. Because I basically blocked out all the words and I'm just reading through them now, but because I just grazed through them. I had seen these like a while ago, like the forums is a beautiful place, and it can be not a good place. It just depends. But the people, this contract drags, into PvP are players who are, 1, mostly there for PvE, and 2, primarily or exclusively for extrinsic awards. Thus, they're going into a game mode they don't particularly like for only the purpose of getting something they want. The mode itself is an obstacle. To a degree. For now, as it's designed right now, it's not for everyone. Everybody gets and likes different things. You cannot please everybody all at the same time. That's been made very clear by what is happening right now in this game. And she goes into this. It's like, here's the thing, what sort of changes do you think the mass of players would demand most? Actually consider what that could be, because that influx of players would be the majority that you would likely start to listen to. Would it be a lower skill ceiling, better ability to AFK for rewards, Grineer versus Corpus game modes replacing what we have, aim assist, bots only modes, whatever it is will be dictated largely by people hunting for extrinsic rewards instead of intrinsic ones. That's what... Okay. Their goal wouldn't be to make the mode more fun or more engaging, which is often already a problem for much of Warframe, just easier to get the rewards. Sorry if I sound condescending. This is kind of like people say I sound monotone, so I just put the inflections in just to make it more interesting. It isn't just a controversial proposition, it has consequences. Like we've been saying throughout this. Also, you really think people are just going to hop into Conclave and not cause a proverbial crap storm? Hardly a single person you encourage to play Conclave with this game is going to enjoy it. I wrote the above without even considering everyone who would flip their collective lid over it and demonize Conclave even further. Granted, it probably would demonetize it, because it's not where the money's going to be. Just from looking at a lot of the numbers. Like, I look at how this game can make money in my spare time, and this isn't it. Play to your strengths, of power, as in terms of your mobility, and you'll be good. This is in complete opposition to that. This guy's just talking about the community suggestions. This guy, Retalius, some of the other people, they've just been like, we can just do this mode because people are saying it's popular. He made his own mode. A lot of what he has said in his videos aren't necessarily true. Like, they're just really not true. But yeah, this is just more of the same. Like, I hope that we're seeing a theme here. That it just is gonna make it not Warframe. Also, if we want to do a reaction to Retalius' stuff, we can. I'm not that interested in it. Hopefully from seeing this and the other videos that already exist, this man probably should already know that he was in the wrong for the opinions and things that he had said in his videos. But yeah, Warframe PvP is salvageable. I've seen worse, yada yada yada. It's a power fantasy. You run down hordes of enemies and mass AoE. Yada yada yada. We already know the crazy degree of 3D mobility. But he's just like, you may call them generic shooters, but they're easy to manage and will and possibly be monetizable. Which could be a case that could be true. However, given their code and their things on their plate, this isn't really the type of way that they should go, and that's not where their strengths lie, because you'd have to balance it as well and just basically restart. And like I was just saying, the power fantasy, just focus on the crazy degree of 3D mobility. AoE, where does it end? Like, I came into the game and I came in at update 12 when Hydrate came out, and you have people clearing rooms, and I'm like, dang, I really don't like to not be able to do anything. And when you get to that level, and I try not to play the game like that, it's kind of stale. I mean, some people like it. Some of the people that I went to school with, that's what they dig. And if that's all you, then, do that. But I definitely, don't think that those people are trying to do what's best for the game either. Like, you have multiple power fantasies going at the same time. Some of them have to go, because there's no challenge to your content. You're gonna just like Hoptering. That's why they got removed. I loved the ceramic dagger to be able to go from one point to the other, to go from the beginning of the room to extraction. But obviously it's just not a good design choice. And what they came out with, Parkour 2.0, insanely better than Coptering. Some people want it still, and it's in the game to some degree. However, I don't always think that the opinions of the people playing are going to be in the best interests of the game as a whole, and make it money and let it thrive and have us be able to play it for years on end. Obviously, those are my opinions, but they are obviously backed up by a lot of other game developers. If you want me to cite them, I can and will. I was planning on doing that for another video, but yes. Yeah, the Grineer Corpus, it doesn't necessarily fit in the lore. Some people are talking about operator mode. Obviously, that's a very spoiler-heavy thing to do. Like this guy says, I kind of blocked out some of them so that people don't get spoiled. I hate spoilers. Yeah, balancing. Just balance the stuff. They can't always just balance the stuff, because they're not the best at balancing. And it takes time. It's not just a few clicks. Like, granted, some things they can just take out of PvP and it would have more balance, but that's not what needs to happen all the time. It's not necessarily healthy for the game just to delete stuff and not put more stuff in, especially without balancing the stuff that you leave in. But yeah, like, he goes into some definitely good points about like cosmetics and other things. Like, if y'all, because y'all like fashion frame, I don't obviously, I'm not into it like y'all are. I like to color my frame just like everybody else, but I do think that the gameplay can be improved. But if y'all are about fashion frame, it's gonna work really weird with the Grineer versus Corpus, and that's just one of the multiple problems that might happen with this game mode, like all the armor scaling, all this other stuff that's been said. Yeah, this guy really says it how it is. We try to be as nice as possible, despite what y'all say all the time. We just try to keep a cool, level head, stay in our own lane. But one of the things in this forum post was about making PvP more healthy as a mode and comparing it to PvE. And we don't really ask for much, and this is basically just saying it in a more assertive manner. But yeah, like, I do remember when the game was healthier, when it was players helping players. When I didn't know anything about the game, when I'm helping other people learn about the game, and it was beautiful. Every chance that I got, I would talk to people about this game, and I still try to. Every chance that I get, anybody that knows that I play games knows that I love this game, and a lot of us love this game. And just the way that a lot of you go about this is not the most fun. Like, the devs have a lot to deal with. We're not really faced by a lot of what y'all how y'all react, because we know what we're doing. And that's not a good. We like what we're doing, and we're not gonna let other people ruin that for us. And I have been away from this game because I have been handling my own in the real world, having to deal with things, and there have been some people. Obviously, y'all gonna hate it, but Life for Real, he had been talking about people that are just now banding together. He's like, bro, it's too late. Like, that's not the mentality that we need to have. We're just trying to make the game survive as it is. And when I came back, I saw things were in disarray. Like, before I left for school and all that, I suggested the racing thing, and I come back and guess what I see? Conclave not being touched, and them just going full force into that, apparently. Like, not everything is going to go the way that we want. Not everybody has the time to put into this game the way that they want. But when it matters, and when we are aware, we try to do our best. I've been trying to, keep these people positive, because there's a lot of things that go on. And I just hope that some of you can, talk and discuss this in a more healthy manner than has been said, so that we can just grow and do what needs to be done, because it's not too late. I don't believe in that. I do have a lot of faith in these people. Granted, they have not done a lot that they have promised, but that goes for people in general. People can always be redeemed. Modes can always be redeemed. And just hopefully we give them more positive feedback about things. This guy's more. Sorry if my voice is not loud. Yeah, he's just talking about like the worst parts of Conclave. None of us really consider ourselves elitists. I don't really know what type of propaganda y'all are on to have said that, but I don't know, we're trying to just healthily dismantle some of the knee-jerk comments and all that. But yeah, like obviously this was like a year or so, not even a year or so ago, but we generally try to put people onto the Discord. We got a lot of tips and all of that on how to play the game. I do find that a lot of the issue is people don't know how to play the game, so they suggest things like this Grineer versus Corpus in lieu of just fixing it in general. So, and this guy's just basically generalizing. But I just added these just because to show some of the ways that we react to mode changes and what the game's about and how to make it better. This is the last slide I see. I'll just read this one. To be honest, I've never actually encountered any toxic players. Still, PvP always tends to be toxic no matter the game. Add in the fact that Conclave is just played by a select few that enjoy it and a few oblivious ones that don't know the mode yet, and it's a recipe for disaster. Excuse me. At the risk of repeating myself again, if you encounter toxic people no matter the mode, mute and report. This is the reaction. If you encounter toxic people, mute and report, depending on the severity. And that's one of the guys from the Conclave community reacting to him. The non-conc is like, I strongly believe we need to simplify PvP, making it more consistent and available, yada yada yada. And obviously we had that. There were a lot of modes and things that have gone away from the game for one reason or the other that are simple to put back. That's the Opticore variant. This guy stays on saying that this variant needs to come back. I didn't play the game when it was in here. But yeah, like basically just we're just trying to do the least amount of damage in the least amount of time. Because like just if you look at what PvP can be in other games, and when they know what they're doing and they niche down into what their strengths are, it becomes strong. And I definitely think that this mode can be something that a lot more people like. And this is all just to say that this Grineer versus Corpus thing isn't the best for this game at this moment. And let's just hopefully focus on the things that are more important for the devs, for Steve, Rebecca, Sheldon, Jeff, Pablo, the whole fam. over there, and just to come in agreement on that at the very least. Obviously, this was just off the cuff. I'm gonna put this on YouTube, like, subscribe, all that. If you feel like it, I'll be doing more videos, not necessarily just on Conclave, but you'll find out that soon enough if you stick around. Thankfully, we're doing something now instead of just not doing anything. I hope you enjoyed. I hope this was informative at the least. I didn't put any memes in this one. It's because I'm tired. I woke up and these people were talking about this, and I'm like, dang, I've really got to do this like today to settle it. Not to put it out there in a decent amount of time instead of just waiting like some months and be like, oh my god, like what happened? What happened to my PvP? Everybody's in a rut, and like we gotta strike the iron while it's hot. Hopefully, you don't hate me too much for this video. I don't know how long this video has been going on, but I'm just going to upload it for the most part. Maybe like edit one point out because I forgot to mute a name. But that's about it. Love y'all. Have a good day. Appreciate life. And yeah, see ya.